Hello and welcome to episode 45 of Moms with Yarn. I'm Sharon, known as Bronx Knitter 1 on Ravelry and Bronx Knitter on Instagram. Hello! I'd like to welcome returning viewers. Thank you for always coming back. And to new viewers, I hope there's something here you like and you'll come back and subscribe. Today is today is June 21st, I think. I'm 2 days late because I wanted to record outside, so I cleaned up outside and then I couldn't record outside. It was just too buggy. So I'm inside, but that's okay because that's where I usually am. Maybe later on I'll be able to record outside, just not now. I have a lot of knitting to show, but before I even begin with any of that, let me say the Tour de Fleece warm-up thread was open, and the challenge was to spin more than 4 ounces. And there was a challenge for knitters too, but nobody took me up on it. Anyhow, I did the random number draw, and the person who was the winner was Trisha C., also known as Pat, who is the host of the On the Docks podcast, and it was post number 10. So Trisha won a pattern that's on her favorites list on Ravelry. I'll go find the pattern with the value up to $6 and I will send it to her. But Trish, if you saw this, congratulations. And to the rest of the ladies, for how much you spun, how pretty it looks, the fact that you participated, that's the trifecta. Thank you for participating. So we'll get on with the knitting now. So there was quite a bit of it that went on. And the first thing I made was fireplace embers. And this pattern was gifted to me by Debbie Hostess of the Never Cast Off podcast. We also had a drawing in the room. And there was one person who won the pattern also, and she made it and finished hers as well. I thought my yarn was sport weight, and it ended up being a fingering weight. It didn't help that the yarn came with no label, so it is the Fireplace Embers shawl. I used a US number 6, which is a 4.0 millimeter, and it's Scano Merino sock yarn in the, I'm going to spell this because I don't know how to say it, Lohengrin. Longrin? I don't know. Anyhow, this is the Fireplace Embers shawl. It is a make it your own. It hasn't been blocked, but it's still just as pretty. Make it your own. It has dropped stitches, and it has windows, and it has all these beautiful colors. And if I had made it in the right weight, it would have been twice as long and twice as wide, and already it's past my wingspan. It's beautiful. I love the colors. The drop stitches really show off the colors, so it was a well worth it knit. And it fits perfectly. And it's going to be beautiful under my winter coat. Another one of those colors that brightens up all the dark and drearies of winter. So it's beautiful. The pattern was very clearly written. Everything came out, oh, it's 90 degrees in here. Everything came out the way it was supposed to, and I finished mine off with garter stitch because the way it was patterning up, I just loved it so much, and I used it until I ran out of yarn. And so it is an asymmetrical shawl, so there's a short side, which is here, and the long side, which is here. And I find that asymmetrical shawls just stay on better for some reason. So these and crescents are my favorite, but this is the shawl. These are the colors, which I think are beautiful. The yarn was nice. It's not the best I've ever used, but I really did like it. And the pattern, like I said, was really easy to understand and really pretty, and I got, you know, the desired result. I got myself a beautiful shawl. Thanks, Debbie. So that was the fireplace embers. The next thing I worked on was the pincha scarf. It's just called the pincha. And it's by Pinpalan Wengsai. It was a free pattern on Knitty. And I made it with hedgehog fibers in the peacock colorway. And I used a size 5 3.75 needle to make it. And here it is. The colors are showing up blue, but that blue is more purple. I don't know if coming closer is going to help. Look, each one of these little things, tips, is called a feather. So you make the first feather, and then the instructions take you to make all the rest. You only make the first feather once, and then you make all the rest. It's an easy to memorize because it's in row repeats of 10. And I'm going to push this down a little bit so you can see. I wish the shirt I was wearing wasn't so busy, but look at this. It's finished. I ended up with 24 of these feathers, and I probably could have gotten even farther with it because this was all that was left of the yarn, and I thought that I did have enough for one more repeat, but then I probably wouldn't have had enough for the bind off, so I bound off after the 24 feathers. It's beautiful, it's perfect, it's asymmetrical, it sits nicely on your neck. I'm able to wrap mine around more than once. And another beautiful scarf for under my winter coat. And I want to make more of these. I don't have more variegated yarn, but I do want to try it in a solid or a tonal just to see how it'll come out. And it still needs to be blocked, but look at these colors. How could you not love this? I love it. It's soft. It is so soft. So that is the second thing I finished. The third thing I finished is a pair of Hermione's Everyday Socks. Everybody was making them, so I wanted to make them too. It's in Miss Bab's 2-ply Yummy in the orange colorway, even though that's not what she calls it. But the pattern is really nice. I don't think you can see it really well. But the pattern is really nice, and the socks came out very dense. And even though I used a size 1 to make these and 72 stitches, I didn't think it would be this dense, but it is. These will make a great pair of winter socks. Now I'm thinking I need to make myself some lacy socks for summer. Not that I wear socks in the summer, but you know what I mean. I would wear socks if I was going to the movies. So there's two, finished, done. Now they're going in the sock drawer. This pair will go in, and a pair that is not in such great shape will go out, because I already have so many socks that I'm beyond being able to stuff them in the drawer at this point. Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Luder. Easy to memorize pattern. The yarn, as usual, it's Miss Bab's. Really, do you expect anything less than high quality? And those are done. The last thing I worked on because everybody was working on it and I wanted a pair too. This is Rose City Rollers, made with Trekking XXL, which was some yarn that was given to me as a gift in colorway 100. I used US 1.5, and these are the socks. As you can see, they're fraternal, they're not twins. I could have done some color management, but I didn't want to waste the yarn. So the pattern is really easy to understand, really easy to execute. The yarn, you know, Trekking is a workhorse yarn. This is not the one with the aloe in it. And if I was going to change anything and make these again, I would make the top part more than an inch that the pattern calls for. I would probably make it 2 inches to get a bigger roll. Not that I need one. And this is them. They're done. They're perfect. And they're not as dense as Hermione's everyday socks, but they're still, I mean, it's hot. I'm in New York City. It's hot. So these are the socks. I love them. I would make them again. I don't even need to use the pattern anymore, because if you've ever made basic socks, these are them. Except for the knit every round for the cuff. Very nice, very useful, perfect for when you're spinning on your wheel and you want a sock on your foot. So those are done. So the last thing I finished but didn't finish was the Tour de Fleece Warmup. Now before I even got started, I had to take this Crown Mountain Farm, they're no longer in business, sorry, 100% BFL in the American Spirit colorway. This was sitting on my wheel for I don't even know how long, but a very long time. So before I got started, I had this. When it came in pencil roving form, it was red, white, and blue, but of course spinning changes everything. So this was that, not part of the warm-up. What was part of the warm-up is this. It is Sunset Fibers. It's 100% BFL, and it came out extra thin, which was not particularly what I was going for. So, and these, it's not been washed, whacked, and thwacked yet. But this is the colors that came out. A little bit of barber poling, some solid, some not solid. There was more blue that came solid, and it's really very thin. Not what I was going for. I hope it plumps up at some point after washing. But that's what I got. Don't have the yardage yet, but I will as soon as I get finished washing it and measuring. But I'm sure there's enough to make at least a pair of socks if that's what I wanted to make. And the other braid that I spun is 100% polwarth yarn rescue fibers in the colorway Secret is what it's called. I'd never heard of this stuff, but I was at Fiber Space in Virginia, I believe it is, and this was sitting on the shelf and it was pretty, so I bought it. It was reasonably priced, and I managed to get it spun up, but I didn't get it plied. And this is it. I think they look like this one has more yarn on it than this one, but you never know when you start plying. So this is it. Hopefully I'll be able to get it plied up by the weekend, because I can't do anything during the week. And that does it. So you know, the real Tour de France starts on July 2nd and it goes to July 24th. And there's no thread in the room for the Tour de Fleece. Most people who want to join teams that have prizes. I don't have any prizes. I could get prizes though. And I'll be posting my spinning in a Tour de Fleece thread in the Moms with Yarn group as soon as I open it. So since it doesn't start until July 2nd, I have a couple of days to get it right. And I'm going to just spin. What I would really like to do is spin at least 1 or 2 skeins well in the size, grist, width, twist that I want. So I'm not going to speed through and try to kill my stash with all of my fast spinning or anything. I'm just going to try to spin well. I'm going to spin on my wheel, and who knows? We'll see what happens. The last thing is the by the book knit along. It goes from June 1st, I think, until July 23rd, so you have time to knit something in case you are a fast knitter and you wanted to make a sweater. But you could make a baby sweater or socks or anything. Doesn't matter what you make. The point of it is to use a book that you already own, that you've never knit anything out of, and that you are now going to use the book and the pattern, and so not to have wasted your money. My first attempt was from Coop Knits Socks by Rachel Coopy. I bought this at Fiber Space too, and I tried over and over again to make these socks called Dollish. It wasn't happening. It just was not happening. It wasn't happening. I made the socks. I made the top part of the socks. Lost my way. Ripped it out. Cast back on. Made the socks again. Made a mistake. Or wasn't sure if I made a mistake. So I ripped it out. So I put it aside. Gave myself a break. Cast them on again. Didn't even make it past the cuff part, and I was like, I'm not in love. I'm not in love, and these socks are not going to happen. And maybe it's because it's a cowl and there's a time limit, and I was feeling the pressure. I don't know what happened. It doesn't matter. I ripped the socks out. What I did instead was get a different pair of socks to make, because I can't be fussing over socks. I know how to make socks. I make them all the time, but I wasn't having fun with those socks. So I pulled out some HPK yarn. It is 100% superwash Corriedale, 435 yards. And instead of knitting from that book, I'm knitting from the Socktopus book. Never made anything out of this book before. Owned it for a while. Don't know where I got the book. Don't know when I got the book. But 17 pairs of socks to knit and show off. And the socks I chose to make are called Vorticity. And they look like this. They're beautiful. They have a great little design on them. In fact, I think it's might be the socks that are on the cover of the book. So this is the yarn. It doesn't have a colorway, and this is the mess I made pulling out the old socks. And this is as far as I got making the new socks. The pattern is easy to understand, but I made a copy of the pattern and put it in my bag to take to work. And when I got there, I had everything I needed except the charts to work from. So there was no knitting at work today. But that's okay, because I can knit at home. And I'm telling you, I'll be finished these socks in 15 days. I like how the color is coming out. It's different shades of gray, very masculine. I am using my sock rockets, which are about to die. One of my joins is coming apart. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it's coming apart. And if they come out and they're too big, because I cast on 72 stitches, I think, or 70 stitches, if they come out too big, the color is great. My son will take them. He doesn't care what color socks are. So I'm having a much easier time of it making these socks now. So I'm going to go with that. I'm sorry that it didn't work out with the Rachel Coopy book. I heard really good things about it, but I'll try it when there's no deadline. So I think that's everything. Sorry I'm late. I hope you're following me on Instagram. I put everything on Instagram except my finished objects. All of my finished objects are shown on the podcast, and then they have been going on my project page. That's to get you all over there to watch the podcast. You should watch the podcast and subscribe. Okay, that's it. I have nothing else. So I will try to be on time and get back here in 2 weeks with my, well, if I'm going to be finished with the socks in 14 days, at least those will be finished. And the washing my fibers will be finished. So I'll have new yarn to show. So anyway, that's it for now. Until next time, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.